Huh? Sorry, it wasn't very helpful. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the next part of this little session, and that is on the planning. Again, like I said at the top, I really wish there was one uniform lesson plan template or a lesson that I could go over for you, and I just can't. You guys are all various different places, and even if you do the same job, even if I had an interventionist, you're all interventionists, every building is going to be different. And I say that because I've been to several of them trying to figure out what is everybody doing. And it's all dependent on, are you Title I or not? What kind, are you running Blitz or not? Are you at a large school versus a small school? And what has your school started? So I'm going to talk in very just general lesson planning. If you have specific questions, please don't hesitate to ask me after the session or email me. All of our contact info is in that packet. Okay, so first thing is, do you have a clear lesson objective? In other words, do you know exactly what you're supposed to be doing that day? And that, if you have a kit, it's going to be written right at the top. Okay, that we're going to be working on fluency of addition facts from 0 to 5. Okay, have that in mind. It doesn't necessarily need to be written down anywhere, but you have to have a focus. You can't be walking into your groups just going, I wonder what we're going to work on today. Okay, that's what we mean by an objective. Okay. Then, right after that is, are you familiar with the lesson content? Again, whether that's the guided reading book that you were working on with the kids, whether that's the math plan you have, whatever it is you're teaching, please, 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 please make sure you are familiar with the lesson content. And I know life happens, schedules happen. You go, but I got pulled to sub and I didn't have any prep, and I get that. Try your best. It doesn't need to be perfect. At least try. Do you have, and along with that, do you have the materials and resources? There is nothing better, and guilty as charged, than getting halfway through the lesson going, oh, shoot, I was supposed to have dice for that. Okay? Because then as you're searching for dice, then the kids realize that it's all, broken loose, and they're everywhere because you don't have it right there. So make sure you have all those necessary materials. And this is a big one. Do you have kids who have accommodations? And if so, do you know what those are? Biggest question then I get is, how do I know? Okay? That's where we just have to ask. We just have to ask. Classroom teachers are the perfect person to go to and be like, hey, is there anything that I should know about these kiddos? Am I supposed to be reading it for them? Or can they read it on their own? Am I supposed to be scribing, or can they read it on their own? Is there a behavior modification? Am I supposed to allow him to stand all the time? He says he's supposed to. Is that, is that an accommodation? Also, and this would be covered in the behavior management class that Sarah's putting on, but try and use that same terminology especially when you're communicating the expectations to your group. If there's maybe a school-wide noise level, like 0 to 4, and we're going to use our level 1 voices, make sure you're using that. If there's, a red light, green light, whatever there is, kind of behavior thing, if there's things like that that are school-wide or even classroom-wide, that will really help you as well when you're doing those lessons. Kinds of lessons you could be doing would be guided reading. We talked about that. Math lessons, LLI, math intervention lessons from a kit, could just be general math. You might have a teacher be like, hey, this kid can't measure anything. Can you please help him with a ruler? And you could just be pulling him out and just practicing things like that. Some schools, like I said before, will require that you have specific lesson plan sheets to fill out because they need it for that data, especially if our kids are moving from group to group to group to group. The person in charge of your aides or interventionists, that could be a coach, a Title I person, I'm not sure at all your buildings who would be in charge of the aides, will fill you in on that. The other thing is the organization. Like I said, your schedules are sometimes a nightmare, and you're literally going from group to group to group to group, and usually from one end of the building to the other. Making sure you have some sort of organizational system, whether you have a bag or you have a rolling cart, or you have, so that you're not wasting precious minutes trying to figure out, where's my group stuff for this? I'm at 5th grade now, and I know it is crazy, but come up with some sort of an organizational system that will really help you out on that. Okay, for those of you who are sort of thrown out there, because I know some of you are. I know Meredith and I had many, many conversations last year about, hey, I have a kid who does not know their phonemic awareness. I'm just going to use the example that we worked on a lot. Where can I go? And if your school is a school that doesn't have tons of resources right there, okay, where can I go to get resources? So I've included in this PowerPoint a couple of different places that you can go for resources if you need to. If you, the teacher just says, hey, go do this, and you're like, whoa, okay, I don't have all that. Here's where you can go. The first one is like the treasure trove of all things language arts for K to 5. It's called fcrr.org. It stands for Florida Center for Reading Research. That one's also really great because it is research proven, and all of our psychs like that. Yes. 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 Sorry. Yeah. Yes, it's all in there. I'm sorry. Yes, our slides should be in there. If you still can't see it on the slides, email me and I'll send them to you. When you go into fcr.org, it covers everything: phonics, phonemic awareness, vocabulary, comprehension, and fluency, the 5 biggies. It's broken down into a K1 band, a 2-3, and a 4-5 for each of those. So even if you have a 5th grader who has fluency issues, it's right there. They give you the lesson plans. They give you everything that you need to go with those lesson plans, whether it's a foldable, whether it's dice, whether it's Word. It's all right there. The tricky part is when you go to that site, you'll need to click on a tab that says Educators and then Student Center Activities. They're really not center activities. They're lessons. Why they call them center activities, I don't know. If we have time at the end, I'll show you that one because that's probably my favorite. There's also a site called literacyresourcesinc.com, and that's great for phonics, phonemic awareness, writing, and sight words. Then there is a site called freereading.net, and that's through actually the state of Indiana. We used that one quite a bit, didn't we? Nice, simple, easy, print and go kinds of things. For math, a place I stumbled onto last year was the Brockton Public Schools page. They had a whole section on math intervention, just right there for everybody to use. And it went by what the content area. So if you had somebody struggling with multiplication, you just clicked on there and up popped all these wonderful lessons. It was wonderful. Then there's a site called intensiveintervention.org. It gives you intervention lessons as well for math. If you are an ESL tutor, and I know a lot of times if you're not using the kit, you're sort of on your own, any of those other items would be, those sites would be perfect for you, but then Rebecca Caberman gave me this one. I'm not even going to try and I'll probably pronounce it wrong. So there's a Colorado site there. I can read that. And that one, she said, was great for your English language learners, as well as Scholastic has a great article on what you can do for your English language learners. Talking about ELD and how it's taught and focusing on the 4 skill areas. Oh, you're fine. No big deal. Okay. Really quickly. Okay. Communication with the teacher. This is probably the hardest part because your guys' schedules are so tight. You would love to be able to sit there, and their schedule's tight too, and say, hey, I really struggled with little Sally today. She really just was not getting that short A sound. You know, can you help me with this? That would be ultimate, okay? And again, this would be, we don't need it to be perfect, but we do need to have some sort of communication. Figuring out when you're going to meet with the teacher to discuss plans, and for some of you it could even be preparing. I know one of our classrooms where the aide is in for like a full 45-minute chunk during reading, and they plan together on Fridays. The teacher and the aide do. So some way, figure out how you're, even just a quick 5-minute conversation about how your group is doing. How are you going to provide feedback from your lessons to the teacher? How's the teacher going to know if that kid's, if they've said, hey, go work with him on his multiplication, how are you going to get that back? You're just going to jot a couple notes down on sticky notes? Great. Whatever works for you and the teacher. But we just need to make sure that we're keeping that feedback and that dialogue going. And like I talked about earlier, make sure you know what the accommodations are. Make sure you're familiar with their accommodations, and that if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask the classroom teacher. Okay, we're not going to have time for that. So, but there was my cool little game at the end. Oh, sorry. Talk too much. Talk too much. Okay, what I need you to do really quickly is on your evaluation sheet, circle the session that you came to. That would be, I don't even know what mine's called. Instructional Support Overview. Then circle from 0 to 4 how helpful it was to you. And then any comments, suggestions, I'll take the complaints, it's fine. And then you don't need to leave that here. Everything goes with you. And then see, your yellow group, so you're going... Oh, yeah. Okay. If you are yellow, you are back in the cafeteria. What other colors do we have? Green? Green goes to another session. So you can just, what session that is. Yes. That'd be fine. Yeah. That'd be fine. Where it says school. That just helps us to look at any trends that we notice. Feel free to use the restroom on your way, grab snacks on your way, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask me anytime today or email me. My email's at the back. Thank you, ladies. I guess it was all